Hello and welcome. I am your host of What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? Author Karen E. Osborne. I have five novels out. The latest is Justice for Emerson. I am so glad that you're here. This is a space for readers and writers to come together and talk about books. It is such an honor and a privilege to introduce you to the talented and generous and lovely Denise Turney. Hey, Denise.
Oh, hello, Karen. It is such a pleasure to be here with you and your listeners and all the book lovers here on your show. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so delighted to have you. And you're right, there are book lovers watching us. So we're going to let them fall in love with another book, right?
Okay.
So, Denise she has a podcast. How many books have you written? You have out published?
So novels. So I kind of break them down this way, and that's a great question. For novels, I think I have six or seven, and I'm working on another one now that's set in the 1940s that I hope to have out this year. That's my hope. And then I have two. I have a middle school book series for kids between like 8 and 13. The Rosetta Blay book series, and the first one came out maybe I want to say 4 years ago. So the first one is Rosetta, the talent show queen. And then the second one, she's doing a skateboarding competition where she's raising money. But I don't want to give this story away. That was not, I don't think her initial plan, but something happens at the park that causes her to go down that path. But those books sell pretty well, the Rosetta Blay books. And then I have two coloring books also. I just want to keep that book series going. That's my only series. The only series is the middle school series. Then I have some journals and I have a few nonfiction books like Hill Gorgeous, Wisdom Within Knows the Way, and Pathways to Tremendous Success. So I have a few nonfiction, but my passion is uh, to write fiction. Yes.
Well, now you heard. So I tell you, she's amazing. I mean, that is prolific. But we're here to talk about a very, very special book today, and it's called Love Pour Over Me. Can you show us the cover?
Oh, I would love to. I would love to. Love pour over me.
Look at that. Isn't that
Yes.
beautiful? That is a beautiful, beautiful cover. So tell us a little bit about the inspiration for this book, and the role that faith plays in your writing.
Okay. Well, this story, like many stories I write, sometimes they'll come from a TV show I saw. It'll just give me an idea, something I read in a newspaper, something I just overheard, and sometimes it just popped up out of nowhere. I have at times written stories with an outline and doing character sketches. Spiral is one of a murder mystery I wrote that I did do outlines and character sketches for that. But this love pour over me, I just sat down and started writing it. And it kind of the genesis for this story was actually the very first novel that I ever wrote, but I haven't published. And I started on it when I think I want to say maybe 14. And I finished it when I was 19 and in college. And I just said, I think that one I'm gonna keep to myself. And it's work editing a novel. It's a lot
Yes,
of work. You can
yes.
write it and get it down. So I said that I didn't think I would just keep it because it could take me a couple of years to feel like it's ready to go. So, but in that story, there is and this couple in my first novel meet in high school, and this one, Raymond is and I can tell you, when women read Love Over Me, they always leave me comments. They love Raymond. Oh, I just love Raymond. I wish I knew him. I wish I could date Raymond. But Raymond has a troubled childhood. He grows up in Dayton, Ohio, and that's where I actually grew up as well. And his father is raising him. He's an only child because his mother just she was a big dreamer and she wanted to go off with somebody who she thought could fulfill her dream. So He leaves him with her ex-husband, and he has untreated alcoholism. So, I'm going back to Raymond's really in high school in the 80s, and so it's not a good mix. But he stayed. He stayed and raised him. He didn't leave him like his mother did. But
Mm.
he left a lot of scars on Raymond, psychological and emotional scars. So it's income. Raymond is academically, he's really, really sharp, and but it's track and field. He is on his way to like the Olympics. He is no joke.
Wow.
And so he gets a scholarship. He could have gone academic or sports. And it's at college where he meets Brenda. And he knows she's the lover. He knows she's the one. And her family's different from his family. Her family is more well to do than his family because Raymond grows up in West Dayton, and anybody who knows Dayton to research it. And it's more of a tougher environment
Mhm.
than where Brenda grows up in Tennessee, and her family has money and they're more classy, elegant type people. But he knows. But how do you open your heart to love when your mom left you and your father stayed, and it's going to be well into your adult years, maybe 50, 60, before you realize he stayed because he loved you too, even though he had this sickness, right? How do you trust? It's the risks are just so high
Yeah,
to
yeah.
trust, and the things that happen to them, and there's no like abuse between them, nothing like that. But the things that happen to them, and can he do it? Can he open his heart? Will she get hurt because he's so wounded, right? And I
Mm.
don't mean a
Yeah.
physical violence.
No, I
I mean just
understand. Emotionally.
yeah, emotionally, psychologically. If he can't open up, and she still keeps trying to reach him, and maybe is he too wounded? So I leave that with the reader to discover. There's a lot that happens in here. When he gets to college, he uh he just witnesses something that is just totally happenstance. And he actually sees a crime that he has nothing to do with. He's brand new to campus, and he meets four friends. And these friends, there's five of them with Raymond, they are friends for the rest of their lives. These dudes are like, and they're from different parts of the world. They are just friends, friends, friends. And their college is in Pennsylvania. And so one of them is involved in this crime Raymond sees when he first gets to campus. But there's no way he knows that. But he starts to, as they are friends, the pieces start to come together. And so that's
Yeah.
a bit of the mystery as well.
Yeah, so it's listed as as Christian fiction. So tell me a little bit about the role of faith in this amazing love story.
The well, they both well, Raymond's not a Christian at first. He does believe in God, and he's a wonderful human being. But Brenda is a Christian, and so he starts to come along more and more, but also wondering, how could this loving God let me suffer when I was a kid like I did? And I had done nothing wrong. I was just a kid. I was like 3, 4, 5 years old. I didn't do anything. So he's struggling with that, but he comes to it. He goes through a lot, and his father also. We're talking late, late in years. He starts to come around as well. And part of this story, I don't want to give it away. Something that happens
Don't
to his
give it
father
away.
when he gets older is similarly. My dad was going through something similar, and when I was finishing like the edit in that part, I was just weeping because it was the similarities. My dad didn't have alcoholism, but the similarities in the end. And I'm like, I had no idea when I was writing this.
Just took you, right? The book just took you. So how many years are spanned in the book?
So he starts out, he is in high school. I do show some little snippets to show how his psyche, his emotional development comes about. I show little snippets of things that happen between him and his father. It's not disruptive. It's just a little snippet to give
Some
the reader
splashbacks.
some
Yeah, yeah,
backstory, and they're very
yeah.
brief. And so, but it starts. He's in high school, and he is getting ready to go to his high school graduation, and something happens with his father, and readers were so angry with his father for what happens at the graduation. They were livid. Oh my God, they were so angry. And so anyway, then he has to make a decision. Where is he going to go to college? His dad would like to have input, but at this point, he and Raymond's relationship is at a not a good place at all. And so he just wants to get away from his dad. It's just, if I can get as far away from you as possible. And so it starts in high school, the high school graduation, and then it goes through college. And this story actually ends. They're in their senior years, because there's a gap in their relationship where they aren't together. But people who've read it say, "I wish you had put them together," and so they stayed together sooner. But they do tell me, I love a happy ending to the story, and you can tell that they truly were. I think by the good Lord meant to be together. I don't want to give it away though, but it's a lot
No,
that happens in
you
the
know what
story.
sounds so good, Denise? What sounds so wonderful is that your readers are so invested. And that tells us that these characters are human beings. They're real, breathing, live people. Because when our readers get upset, like, oh my God, that's because they're so invested in the lives of our characters. So what a compliment that is to you that your readers were upset because it says that they really feel for these characters. They care about them, that they're living, breathing people. So that is wonderful. What do you hope, excuse me, what do you hope that your readers will take away? After I finish this book, which I will, after I finish the book, what do you want your readers to take away from that? What do you hope they're thinking or feeling or that they'll do?
That love is always worth it. And then when it, because you've got the complicated father son relationship, so it's not just a romantic relationship, but complicated father son. You've got these five men, this friendship that it just lasts through anything. And some of them go on to do very well. One of the guys goes on to do well in the NFL. So and it's others in business. So you got that love, that friendship love, that father son, and then Raymond and Brenda. So however it shows up, uh, love is always worth it, even when it seems like it's not. And I want to say love. But be very careful about this. Love, not abuse. So I'm not saying for somebody to stay when they're being abused, because that's
Right.
not what goes on between them.
That's not
I mean,
love.
yes, love. Well, people are working through something, but they're not being abusive. But it could be just they're working through something emotionally or psychologically. If it's meant to be, it's worth it. That would be what the message I would hope people would take away.
I love it. I love it. When you were like having written so many books over time, did the process of writing teach you something about yourself? Did you discover something about yourself as you wrote these different books?
I think every story, it's funny when I do my podcast, like you're doing this podcast off the shelf, and I never attended this. This ties into my answer, but I never intended this. But I always tell the guests, it's so odd. I learn something from every guest. It's so bizarre to me because that's never my intention. It's just amazing. I think when we really like we're sitting down, really paying attention, zoning in on what each other is saying, and often as humans, we don't do that. We don't when we communicate, it's not where you tune everything out. How often do you really, even myself, talk to somebody where you're really just zoning and focusing is rare. And how much we gain when we do that. So one thing I've learned, like to tie that into my writing, is I think our writing comes from deep within us. So we're
Mm,
discovering more about ourselves as well, I think, even if we don't think we are. And how many stories, I would ask any author, do you see little snippets of yourself in what you write? Little snippets. It's almost a little bit of almost inner work without intending for it to be. So I think when your art is honest, uh, it is very inwardly helpful. And I would say something I've learned from being creative, there is no end to creativity. It never runs out. There is no end to it. It never runs out. You
I'm
could just
so
keep
glad
coming
to
up with,
hear that because I'm an old woman, Denise. So I am so glad to hear that's going to stay with me till the end. So,
yes,
I'm trying to get my books out as fast as I can because my clock is just ticking, ticking, ticking.
no, yeah, it never runs out. If anybody creative, if you, I don't care how many songs you wrote or whatever. I'm thinking Duke Ellington just popped into my head, but I don't care how much you can still tap in and create something new again and again and again and again and again. So that's something I've learned as
That's a
well,
beautiful, that's a
just from being a
beautiful,
writer.
beautiful reminder. And that gives a lot of people out there hope, who maybe are just starting their first book
Hmm.
or they just got their first book out and they're thinking like, oh, do I have another book in me? Can I go through this again? It never, ever runs out. You mentioned a few minutes ago, just in passing, really fast, about your wonderful podcast. So could you tell our audience just a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. Thank you. So the podcast is Off the Shelf. And when I first came out with my first book, Portia, which is an inspirational story about a woman who's a successful attorney in Chicago and she's dealing with breast cancer. And it's an uplifting story. When I used to tell people about it, they would like back up. I said, no, 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 it's not it's not contagious. You're not gonna get it from reading the book. But then people saw it, as uplifting and empowering and helpful to them. But when that first came out, I had no other books out. So I said, how I've got to let people know about Denise Turney. So I started doing radio interviews and I mean, this before the internet really took off. I was doing them. They had a book called Gabby Press, which is now shut down, but I would go in there, the magazines, the newspapers, the radio. I get on the landline phone and do my radio interviews. Uh, uh, and so one time I reached out to a radio station, Neil Blake, and he's in New York and he's working television as well. And I said, I would love to, do an interview and discuss Portia and blah blah blah, and telling the benefits to the book to his readers, his listeners. And he said, why don't you just start your own radio show? And I thought I couldn't do that. I said, oh no, I don't. I said, no, I've never done radio. I couldn't do that. He said, oh, sure you can. And so Off the Shelf started on a real live radio show you listen to when you're driving to work or wherever. It was started on his show, and then he took it to was Blog Talk Radio when it was first coming out, and that's how I got on doing podcasting. But Off the Shelf started on, and it's been
Radio show. And isn't that a beautiful story of somebody just encouraging? It's another way that we help others. It's just, I've been blessed with my husband always saying to me, yes, you can. I mean, every time I doubted myself, he would just look at me and say, Karen, you can do this, just sometimes he gave me a little shove, you know. It's so wonderful to have people who believe in you
yes,
and are
yes,
willing to encourage you. And so I
yeah.
hope all of you out there are being encouraged, having met Denise. Denise, tell us how people, oh no, you have to recommend a book first. This is what are you reading? What are you writing? Can you recommend a book that you've read recently?
I am nearing the end. I've read a book of poetry. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I really enjoyed it because I do enjoy poetry. And then I am finishing up The Personal Librarian, and that is uh it's the two writers, Victoria, uh,
Sorry, I
Christopher,
can't remember.
and I forget the other author's name, but I am enjoying the writing. She was the personal librarian to J.P. Morgan. Yes.
It's a really, it's a beautifully written book. It's one of my favorites, and I'm so embarrassed that I can't remember the author's names. But it is a very excellent, excellent
Hmm.
book. I could take a minute and go look on my Kindle, but we don't have that much time. So, um, thank you for that. And
Oh,
please tell our audience how they can of course, you can buy her books everywhere books are sold. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them at Barnes and Noble. You can go to your local independent store. You can go to your library. If you don't see them, just ask, and they will order them for you and bring it in. But how can they be in touch with you? What's your website? How can they be part of your newsletter? All of that kind of stuff.
oh, absolutely. And thank you for having me, and thank you for the question. My website for my official site is chisel.com, and that's I always still say www, and it's CHISTELL.com, and that's again CHISTELL.com. You can read free excerpts from my book, and you can also order them. You can order them links to Amazon, Kobo, Barnes and Noble, Google Books, iTunes, all the different platforms that you can order the books from. You can also order it directly through my website. And if you want an autograph copy, just send me an email and I can autograph it and send it to you that way as well. I'm on Facebook, Denise Turney. I'm on X. I think I'm under DT Writers on X, but you could find me on those as well. And Instagram, I think I'm also under Denise Turney. And those are the three I'm on for my books because I'm not on like all of them. So those are the three main ones. But I love for you to visit me online again at chisel.com and subscribe to my newsletter where yours truly was featured recently. Miss Karen, the one and only Karen Osborne. And the newsletter is the Book Lovers Heaven.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So this has been such a pleasure. I hope all of you have enjoyed it. I hope you're going to go and read Love Pour Over Me. I hope that Denise has intrigued you as much as she has intrigued me. That when you finish reading it, you know the drill. You will write a review. They are so important to us. We so appreciate that you'll be in touch with Denise. Her newsletter is very, very good. You'll watch her, listen to her podcast, which I think you'll meet some really cool authors on her podcast. And that when you do get in touch with her, you'll let her know that you met her on What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Denise. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you.